The interior was dim, lit by the glow of a single clay lamp. Shaka sat on a low wooden headrest, his posture rigid, his gaze fixed on the central pole that held up the roof. He did not look at her as she entered and prostrated herself. "Rise!" His voice was a low rumble, like distant thunder. He finally turned to her. "You are Nandi." "Yes, Ngonyama," she whispered, using his praise name, the lion. He gestured for her to sit. There was no passion in his movements, no fire. He asked her about her village, her family, the path she had taken to reach the royal kraal. He listened, his head tilted, his eyes distant, as if he were trying to hear a melody beneath her words. When she spoke of her mother's pride, a flicker of pain crossed his face, so swift and deep she thought she had imagined it. His own mother, Nandi, a coincidence of names that felt heavy with portent, was a legend, a woman he had elevated above all others, and whose death had plunged him into a grief that had made the rivers run red. He did not touch her that night, or the next time she was summoned, or the time after that. He would simply talk, or more often, fall into a long, brooding silence while she sat, trembling and confused. She saw the same confusion in the eyes of the other women. They were all beautiful, all desired by any other man in the kingdom, yet they were untouched. The king would speak to them, sometimes for hours, but the great, life-giving act of creation never occurred. The mystery deepened. The Izinkel whispered that the king had a curse placed upon him by a rival chief. The older wives, like Makabayi, said nothing, their lips sealed by years of silent knowledge. Nandi noticed other strange things. Certain areas of the IsiGodlo were forbidden. A cluster of huts near the rear palisade, always in deep shadow, was strictly off-limits. And the women themselves, there was a uniformity to them, not just in their beauty, but in something else. They all had a particular quality in their eyes, a certain depth, a certain knowing. One afternoon, Nandi was fetching water when she stumbled upon an incel girl, crying quietly behind a granary. "What is it?" Nandi asked, kneeling beside her. The girl, her name was Thando, looked up, her face streaked with tears. "I don't want to be chosen," she sobbed. "My mother was chosen. She withered. They all do." "Withered?" Nandi's blood ran cold. "What do you mean?" Thando's eyes darted towards the forbidden huts. "They go there, the ones the king speaks to most. They go there, and they don't come back the same. They become empty, and then they are gone." That night, driven by a terror she could no longer contain, Nandi crept from her hut. The drumming was loud, a frantic, driving rhythm. She moved through the shadows, following the path Thando's terrified gaze had taken. The forbidden huts were silent, their door flaps closed, but from the largest one, a faint, flickering light escaped through a gap in the thatch. Heart in her mouth, Nandi peered inside. The sight that met her eyes stole the breath from her lungs. It was not a place of ritual or punishment.